Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the GT2 GT3 Sprint Cup 2024 from SOP Motorsports. My name is John Wright, aka Double O Raven, and we're here tonight for 45 minutes of Valencia. It is round number 6 we've got this evening, and joining me once again in the commentary box, the man, the myth, the oval racing legend. There's Mr. Simon Baggis. Good evening, Simon.
Hey, good evening, good evening. Not quite a legend on the oval tracks yet, but
Yet.
we're getting there slowly.
I like the
here
use of the word,
Valencia. It's going to be a cloudy afternoon for the drivers. I don't think there is any chance of rain today. So a simple strategy should be at play. I think we're going to see the normal 50-50 split. The GT2s are not so dominant this week, John.
Yeah, no, they really are not. There's only 2 in the top 10, guided by Boyle and Verstappen. Boyle in the Maserati on pole, only 300ths ahead of Verstappen in the KTM. Klaus Christensen just behind him in the silvers. But it's Dan Watts taking pole position by 0.4 of a second overall. Just exactly what you would expect from Dan Watts, really, with Portugal in second place. Valentino Miri, Brady and Guertz make up the top 3 in the silvers and find themselves in overall top 5 ahead of Brakstad in the Poor. So Brady really putting on a great drive there. Zachev in 7th. Overall, 4th in the silvers. Then it's Christensen and Pinto. That should be quite the battle. And Morton the Buren in silver, not far behind. Then it is the GT2s. Verstappen in 2nd, as I mentioned. Busek in 3rd place. Then Romano in 4th in the Audi. Rollins, Sidlowski, Partes, Toman, Pell and Malcherek all setting times as well. I'm going to wait till this ticks over before we jump back into the game. But yeah, Simon, the GT2s at Valencia, they just can't get the power down, can they?
It looks to be that way, yeah. A whole second and a half off the pace compared to the pro or leading GT3s, which is, I think, the biggest gap we've actually seen all season, because there's usually been at least 3 or 4, maybe even 5 GT2s mixing it in at the very top of the tables at every round so far. So not the case here tonight. Qualifying's just finished. Only 8th and 9th for Boyle and Verstappen, the leading GT2s there. The only 2 to make it inside the top 10. And by the skin of their teeth, because they only just pushed out Pinto and the Buren from the top 10 there, with Busek in 12th. Really, the GT2s and GT3s there between 8th and 13th, there's almost nothing to separate those drivers from their qualifying performances. A short run down to turn 1 as well, so the GT2s aren't going to be able to maximise that straight line speed like they could at Monza, and then they're straight into pretty much a tight and twisty circuit here at Valencia, from turn 1 all the way to the final turn. They've only got that main straight to make up some ground, but I think it's going to be too late to do anything at that point.
Indeed, yeah, it's a very twisty track. As you say, it's not the quickest, it's not the longest run into turn number 1. They'll have a bit of speed with the rolling start, but it's not going to make massive amounts of difference. Let's see if this, there we go, a rundown of the grid for the warm-up lap, although it just seems to have jumped to top 10 places. Not sure why it's done that, and Portugal's livery hasn't worked either. 45-minute race, no sign of rain, but there is a lot of cloud, and as Simon mentioned, the one mandatory pit stop for fuel and tyres. The only thing that's going to really govern the time they spend in the pits is the tyre change. The fuel taken on board won't affect the amount of time that they're stationary. So, yeah, I think, as Simon mentioned, pretty much a safe bet for a 50-50 split put in, and that way you keep the weight of the car down to an absolute bare minimum. One of the newest tracks in existence, and that really just doesn't want to work today at all, does it? Let's see if we can get this to work. One of the newest tracks in existence, 1999. This was built pretty much with MotoGP in mind. I think it's safe to say, but the GT3s certainly do have some fun. And Simon, you'll know yourself as a bit of a die-hard racer. This track, when it comes to inviting track limits, there really are around here, like through turn 1 and turn 8. As well, some of the overtaking opportunities that we see the drivers going for, they really do find themselves on the other side of the rumble strips. And I think that, yeah, even with a 45-minute race, we could well see some stop-go penalties for breaching track limits.
Yeah, it's quite easy, not just turn 1 or turn 8 either. I think there's quite a few points around Valencia that can catch drivers out, especially if they're trying to make an overtake, or if they've made a mistake and they veer off wide. It's very easy to pick up track limits almost everywhere, from turn 1 all the way to the final corner. Especially if these GT3s that are now stuck behind the leading GT2s try and make moves. We could see a lot of cars going off track. The run down into turn 1, everybody's going to be pushing wide there. It wouldn't surprise me if a few drivers pick up track limits straight away on the opening lap. Hopefully the race is clean. It's a venue that sort of invites people to try and make moves that might not actually be there. You know, the design of the course, with the way they've designed these fast-flowing bends into sharp hairpins, it sort of opens opportunities for drivers to think that they can stick a nose in and they'll make a move stick, whereas in fact that might not be the case. So hopefully it's a clean opening lap, but we may see some incidents. Just as they finish their formation, John, I will head to the stewarding room for these lap 1 excursions, and I will be back with you shortly.
Yeah, fingers crossed the pen stays firmly sheathed, Simon, but yeah, we'll see you very soon as the drivers do almost... Oh yeah, they're already out of the last corner. Let's get back up to the front. It's going to be Dan Watts and Andrei Porshikov that lead the way here for round number 6. We've got 7 and 8 to go. There is the green lights, his foot down, it's flat out, it's flying into turn 1, and it's a great start by Dan Watts in the BMW. He's got the inside line. Porshikov can't be too defensive here, can't be too careful. That's Valentino Meri and Taylor Brady. Behind we've got Braxton. Looks like he's dropping positions. He's run wide through turn number 1. Butek. Oh no, Zekev. Oh, look at that. Double 3 wide in the background. Paul Sidlowski involved in that one. He pops his Mercedes just out ahead. That is Rollins. No, it's not. Who is in that other black Mercedes? The black Mercedes is Sidlowski. It's the blue Mercedes of Busek that's down quite a few positions there. The timing board goes wild as it likes to do. Let's get some close-up cameras as Portugal still in second. Valentino Meri and Taylor Brady still second and third. Joe Boyle's held on to the lead of... He's almost got himself a KTM there. Verstappen looking very quick indeed as he tries to take himself a position. No splitter cam on the KTM. So let's jump on board here. Oh, that's spinners. Let's see what happened there actually. I was too busy looking at the camera, but it's Joe Boyle I think that's had himself a bit of an issue. He has been overtaken there on the exit. Now was he trying to avoid the McLaren ahead? It looks like he's trying to avoid the apex, to be fair. He's a few feet away from it. He won't be impressed with his corner in there, that's for sure. That, oh, and the Porsche in the background. Oh, big... Okay, that's what I didn't see. Oh, wow. Okay. So big contact then. That is going to be a lap 1 penalty there at Romano. Rollins up positions. Paul Sidlowski. Oh, double contact. Oh, and they've straightened one another up. That is quite the expeditious overtake attempt there as the Audi of Chris Romano finds himself in the middle. No quarter given, no quarter asked by any of the drivers. Let's have a look and see how Sidlowski's race panned out. So he saw this happen. Romano ends up on the outside line, ended up behind the two Mercedes. Poor Klaus Christensen will be having absolute PTSD. Fair to say he's not had the clearest rub of the green. That's Busek finding himself off the track. Champi Herrero, that was one of the corners I wanted to talk about. That thing is an absolute nightmare for absolutely every car on the grid. And that's Christensen that we're on board with. Watching this one from the Lexus, you can see the battles that are going on ahead of him, and it is absolutely solid. And that was the move up the inside into turn 1 that saw Romano retake that position, and Busek as well. While all that's been going on, he's retaking positions. Wow, it's all change right through the field. Let's have a look and see what's going on with the leaders. We'll get a quick update on what's been happening. Hristo Zachev in the opening laps has not had the best of starts. That looked like a bit of contact there with the back of the Maserati. That's Rollins, and it's safe to say as well, Samuel Brackstad down 14 positions at the minute. The Porsche driver involved in a bit of an incident on lap 1, which looked something like this. Okay, so we already know what happened. This is the Porsche that misses his brakes, ends up the inside, and there we go. And that is how Brackstad, of course, ended up down at the back of the grid, just on the exit to Champerero, having to wait there to let everyone through. So yeah, big drop in positions there. Taylor Brady takes the early opening lap, 41 minutes still left to go though. Guertz in 3rd place, still in the Silvers. Valentino Miri still leading the way for the Silver drivers. Dan Watts still leading the way overall, and he is giving Porshikov, he's leading them a merry dance at the minute. The gap sitting though at half a second. Nelson Pinto only a 10th behind Klaus Christensen. Quite a few deliveries haven't worked this week. I'm very confused as to why that is. Oh, both drivers making a bit of a meal of that one there. They both survive though. This is Bojan Uskokovic. Making his debut in the series this evening. He has just come out of the pits but didn't fulfill his mandatory requirements, so may have been for damage. Then we've got Ding GT in the BMW down at the back of the field. Jens Marusek, who's was involved in an early incident as well, finds himself down the field as Brackstad finds himself trying to catch back up to the rest of the pros. It's going to be quite the run if he manages this. His teammate Morten Bjorn looks like he's trying to overtake up in 15th position. This would get him into 6th place, in the Silvers. Oh, it's a good run there by both cars. Guertz still pressing Brady's buttons, looking to improve on his podium position at the minute. Joe Boyle took pole position, now finds himself, still finds himself in 1st, despite that tap. Wow, so he must have got an absolute worldie of an overtake, because Verstappen was ahead after Boyle took that contact. Butek wasted no time at all, catching up to the two drivers ahead. We saw him drop down a couple of positions, and certainly trending upwards for him at the moment as Paul Sadlowski in the Mercedes chasing Romano. He's got that GT2 Audi running very well. Didn't qualify as high as I thought he might have. Oh, through Champerero. That is the curve. That exit curve there really is an absolute killer. It unsettles the cars unbelievably, and yet they still throw the cars at those curves. We'll see if anyone comes a cropper. That is the professional commentary term for that. Over the 45 minutes. Hey Simon, how we doing?
Yeah, we're good.
Didn't look too bad.
You saw live with the 75 Porsche with the contact with Joe Boyle there.
Yeah, touched Leroy Jenkins, but these things happen.
Yeah, so it was one of those things. I think he just missed his brakes. We're not going to issue him with a drive-through penalty for lap 1 incidents because he caused his own downfall and demise. He is basically dropped to the rear of the field and ended up last anyway, right? And Joe Boyle's still there marching on 1.2 seconds ahead of Verstappen, so unaffected for Joe Boyle at the rear of the field for Brackstad.
Yeah, Boyle doing well to get back up the front. Busek as well. Looked like he lost the back of the car ever so slightly. Dropped a couple of positions, but he's wasted no time at all getting them back again. He's got a solid battle going on behind him, though. Just as I say that, Christian, Champion. Spent much time driving around here. Sorry, on you go, Simon.
It must have been quite a hectic few opening laps, right? Because there was only 2 GT2s inside the top 10. We now have 5 GT2s inside the top 10. So some of those GT2s must have had pretty lightning starts to all make their way inside the top 10. Joe Boyle up to 6th when he only qualified 8th. Verstappen up to 7th when he only qualified 9th, and then obviously Busek, Roman and Sadlowski were 12th and below, right? I think they were in 14th or 15th, so they've had a fantastic start. And I mean, there seems to be quite a big gap between the leading 5 GT3s. They're almost 6 seconds ahead of everybody else, so obviously there is a big disparity between the leading GT3s and the leading GT2s there.
Yeah, there really is. And yeah, as you say, the GT2 is getting a great start. You and I were questioning their ability to get the power down on lap 1. Haha, hold our collective beer. Although, with Christensen, Pinto and De Buren all dropping places, Zachev down 8 and Brakstad down 14 at one point. He has made back 2 of those places. That would be, so Zachev, Brakstad, Christensen and Pinto were the generous GT3 drivers that handed those top 10 positions to the GT2s. Yeah, very quickly as well, hello to everyone in the chat. Apologies, I did see it popping up, and yeah, we were yeah, bit of a busy start there, but we managed to catch up with everyone there. There's still lots going on, but hello to Alan Brown and Sean Cool. Long time no see for my friend. How are you getting on? Hope things are well. Are you still racing these days? And if not, you know where to come. Hello, mate, long time since I hear your voice. Hope you are well. I am indeed. Thank you very much for tuning in. Welcome to SOP's GT2 GT3 Championship, the latest addition to the ACC stable. Another addition coming very soon. In case anyone hadn't heard, they're bringing the Nordschleife. Hey, like anyone didn't know that. Races everywhere. But yeah, GT2s and GT3s, it's been quite the mixed season so far. Definitely some tracks lending themselves to the GT3s, some to the GT2s. This one definitely seems to be in the hands of the 3s, absolutely hands down. Morten De Buren making moves still. He's back up to... sorry, Samuel Brakstad. That's who I was looking for. My apologies. That was the wrong big brain racing driver. But he's looking for another move around the outside if he can. He's bringing another KTM with him. We're going to see a cheeky little 3 wide here potentially. Oh, is he going to get the Porsche around the outside? You can see just how much better the GT3s are on the brakes. Oh, pops one up the inside as... who was that just made a mistake there? That's not Zachev. Is that Taman and Malcherek? It is. So the positions... Oh, and all simultaneous rear end shuffling from 2 of the cars. Oh, there's a concertina effect and there's been a double contact there. That is it. Brakstad, who will be very happy to get away from that little battle there. It's Singwen Pell. Oh, and he's just made a pig's ear of the exit there on Champion. I've talked about that corner. He was maybe taking avoiding action as the KTM and the Maserati are having themselves a battle around, both of them off track. Very much monkey see, monkey do on that one in a straight line. It's going to be the 3 of these racing one another as Samuel Brakstad races off into the future as far as these 3 are concerned. You can see the Maserati thinking about a move up the inside. Decides against it into turn number 1, so lively stuff going on there. Klaus Christensen definitely involved. He's found that his Lexus can match the Mercedes around Valencia. Now he just needs to match wits with Paul Sadlowski and get that overtake done. This is going to be an absolutely epic battle between these 2 cars. And Nelson Pinto, of course, who's got a bit of race IQ himself, it has to be said. He could certainly find himself the beneficiary of a couple of positions if these 2 continue to battle. Timo Guertz still chasing Christensen's teammate Brady. And yeah, as far as the GT3s go, Simon, the Porsche and this McLaren here battling for second and third in the silvers. This is quite the game of cat and mouse between the two of them. Brady holding his nerve for the moment.
Yeah, and it looks like the McLarens are pretty strong around here at Valencia, right? 3 inside the top 5 there. Pretty much set in the way with their lap times. Unlike the KTMs in the GT2s, they seem to be struggling. Something rotten there with 4 right at the rear of the field. The only anomaly there is obviously Verstappen, who's just one of the top drivers on ACC anyway, so yeah, there's no wonder he's able to make that thing shift. But yeah, the McLarens are definitely strong around here as we have a replay of the Porsche doing Porsche things. They're usually sitting ducks on the straights.
Yeah, beautifully highlighting what you were just saying there. The McLarens are seeming just that little bit stronger around here, and yeah, Porsche doing Porsche things on the straights, McLaren doing McLaren things in the corners. And we all know how this one ends, folks. It is the McLaren out in front. Good, solid overtake. Oh, and we've missed him taking the position back. Let's go. Oh, okay. He's run wide, Simon, just before Champiero. The McLaren's run a bit wide, carrying too much pace, and the Porsche says, "Thank you very much, Mr. McLaren. You've got it on the straights, but I've got it in the corners. Give me that spot back again." Nice move.
Yeah. I didn't want to correct you there, John, when you said the McLaren's got it in the corners. Usually the Porsche is far superior in the corners there, but obviously it was the mistake from the McLaren that gave the position back. So it's going to be round 2, ding ding, when they get to the main straight again. Oh no, the Porsche had pulled a bit of a gap there.
He did, yeah, got a good exit. We'll look how much the McLaren closes in on the straight. Is he going to get close enough? No, he's not. Oh, and they've got a car ahead of them that's moving very slowly indeed. Who is that? Oh, okay, that might be... Oh no, we've had Juskovic has been back into the pits. Paul Sidlowski is taking his pit stop. And here comes James Rollins as well, only 15 minutes in. That is Sidlowski into the pits. Rollins follows him in.
I tell you what, we saw the early pit stop at the last round play dividends for a lot of drivers, right? That undercut worked marvellously. So if those drivers were paying attention to that, like maybe James Rollins was, they're going to come in a little bit earlier than usual and get out on that fresh rubber earlier to make up those precious seconds when everybody else does come into the pits. It seems to be that coming in early and being on the fresher rubber and just dealing with less pace at the end seems to be a faster strategy than staying out on that worn rubber for longer. And especially when you've got a tight and twisty technical circuit like Valencia, you need as much grip as possible, right?
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Good to see different strategies. Rollins, it does say he's ahead of Sidlowski. I think, yeah, we'll go. That will correct itself. The Porsche, again, Taylor Brady getting a phenomenal exit out of the very last corner, and at the minute that's all he needs to keep doing. Yeah, because it's as simple as that. It's as easy said as it is done, of course. There is Rollins. He is back out from the pitch. That is Sidlowski, then confirmed still ahead of him, and that is Valentino Miri, the silver leader in the McLaren, going a lap up on Rollins. So the GT2s really don't have pace compared to the GT3s around the whole track. It's still Joe Boyle leading the way, and that's an incredible battle. In fact, we probably should have been watching this right from the start as we jump on Boyle's rear spoiler. You can see the KTM absolutely hunting him down, as Simon mentioned. Verstappen, he's not too bad on ACC. He's a bit good in the GT4s, it's safe to say. Yeah, absolute world-class driver. Boyle himself as well, not too shabby either, and it's quite a battle between the two different cars. We know they're both struggling for grip through the corners. There is... I think that's Juskovic just popping himself out of the way. It's definitely a blue flag. It wasn't a crash. They've got more cars chasing through Busek and Romano. In fact, Romano and Christensen really pressuring Busek now. Busek losing some positions at the opening of the race. He's made them back again, but now he looks like he's getting absolutely hunted down by Romano as Christensen comes into the pits 5 minutes short of the halfway mark. So that leaves Romano and Busek to battle for GT2 podium positions while he comes into the pits. Nelson Pinto has stayed out of the pits. Ooh, he almost stayed outside the track limits there. Morten de Buren comes into the pits as well. Fancy pit lane camera not quite working, but Morten de Buren is in. Partez has been in and out of the pits as well. There's Pearl making up some positions. He was gifted some with the battle between Thoman and Marusek earlier in the race. So he is going to stay out, and there is Rudius Partez for Alpha Simsport. He has got himself in and out of the pits as well. Two of the three Maseratis in, and Verstappen and Joe Boyle. Oh, he's going for it, is he? Oh, he's right up the inside. Two wheels on the grass. Was there even enough room on the way into the corner? Not sure. There was a bit of contact on the way out. The KTM really pushing. We thought the battle between the McLaren and the Porsche was lively, Simon. Boyle and Verstappen are turning it up a notch here in the battle for the lead in the GT2s.
They are. I would love to see that battle from a different angle, John. I think there was a bit more contact than the camera angle let on there with that little battle. Verstappen had such a great exit, but Boyle didn't want to give an inch. Fantastic. They could keep it on the tarmac there to keep going. It's a fantastic battle for the lead. I think this is one of the first times in the entire championship we're seeing Verstappen having to work for a win. Usually it's Busek or Verstappen that's held the lead in these races. Joe Boyle having a good run here in the lead. This is the first time he's genuinely led a race from the front. He's usually taken the lead. Oh, that was very close there. Almost ran out of room entirely there. Good racing that is, though. But yeah, it's usually Joe Boyle's not the one to lead the way. He usually likes to get some camera time by being the last of the pitters, but he's genuinely at the front of this race on pure pace alone.
Yeah, do we think he goes for the same strategy again? Because he has, as you say, it doesn't matter where he qualifies in the race overall. Every single race he's had a couple of laps in the overall lead, because he does like to go for that long first stint. So yeah, interesting. Do we think he sticks with that and tries to, war of attrition against Verstappen, or does he come in and try and relieve the pressure? Because as solid as a racer as you are, Verstappen is going for it, and Boyle knows that at the minute, Simon. So what do we think? Do you think he might change his strategy, or is he going to stick with his guns as Romano does come in?
Well, I think if Boyle does try and stay out, I think that's only going to go against him, to be honest, John. Verstappen's going to be thinking he's stuck behind Boyle now for 2 or 3 laps. He's not been able to get the job done. I think we're going to see Verstappen in this lap.
Ooh.
That's just my driver's perspective on things. If I'm stuck behind a car, and it's pretty close to the pit window anyway, right? It's almost at that 50% mark of the race. Maybe a lap or 2 early, but if I'm Verstappen and I can't quite find my way past, I'm coming straight into the pits to make my pit stop and get the job done on the undercut.
Yeah, could potentially work. Klaus Christensen getting it done through the pit stops. He's got himself ahead of Sidlowski. It's all about where Nelson Pinto then comes back out to these drivers in different classes, of course, different cars. As Brakstad comes in to the pits. He's made back 4 places so far. So we'll see how he gets on when he gets out of the pits. In fact, that's him already on his way out. So that is a decent return there. Let's see where he is compared to Christensen. That looked like was that James Rollins just there? It was indeed. So he is behind his teammate Morten de Buren and Sidlowski and Christensen, but he's not far ahead of Rollins. Rollins was on a good run as well, so Brakstad will get a bit closer, as Simon, spot on. Verstappen, sorry, into the pits along with Busek, who is potentially replying to Romano coming into the pit, Simon.
Yeah. Like I said, Verstappen straight in. I thought he was going to make it in this lap. Busek might have pulled the blinder there as well. I think he's just answering Romano, right? Because Romano came in the lap before, and those two were quite close together on track. But yeah, Verstappen, now he's going to get the undercut. I think he's going to be able to get the lead. Busek might also lose the position to Romano, so it's going to be a fantastic battle to see who can get the final podium position in GT2s. But definitely Joe Boyle being the last of the main front runners pitting, he could lose more than one spot here, John.
Yeah, most definitely could. As there's Verstappen out the pits, Busek out the pits. Dan Watts has stayed out. He is still the overall race leader and the fastest driver on track by 25 hundredths of a second ahead of Porskov, who is in second place. A lot of traffic coming in out the pits. Valentino Miri is still leading the Silvers, with Guertz in second place. He did get himself ahead of Brady because Brady has come into the pits. So we'll see how he gets on after the other two drivers. Joe Boyle comes in to the pits as well. So yeah, he has made a change to his strategy there, Simon. You did say that I asked you, do you think he'd change it? And you did say he would be mad to stay out. Well, not quite mad to stay out that bit longer, but yeah, going for the 50-50 strategy, or at least answering Verstappen straight back again seems to be the way. So no lead laps for Boyle on this one, but this is the race win that he's chasing, so a bit of strategy change could be exactly what he needs to bring this one home.
Yeah, you're right. Verstappen back out now. He's only got a second to Busek, who's only got half a second to Romano. Those three are literally nose to tail right now, so Joe Boyle needs to have the fastest pit stop he has ever had if he's going to retain the lead or be demoted to fourth place. Right on board with Joe Boyle now. We'll see how slow he exits the pits. We'll see how fast Verstappen comes through. That's one through. Here comes Busek. He's through as well. We'll see how quickly Romano can get on the back. He is on the tail of Boyle. I said it. Joe Boyle trying to do that late stop isn't going to work in his favour. He's almost gone. Yeah, he's lost another position there. Wow, from first to fourth in a blink of an eye.
Yep, and Romano onto the podium. But yeah, the cold tyres there, outdoing Joe. You can see here he is stationary as these three come filing round. Let's look at this from... Yeah, so there's Champierrero. Let's watch the end of the lap. So these three drivers at this point, they absolutely know that Boyle is in the pits. They're bearing down onto the last corner. Boyle is rolling at this point. Look how close they are. Incredible battle between the top four in the GT2. A bit more surprised that Sadlowski isn't involved in this one. He dropped a couple of positions, but there is Boyle coming out of the pits there, and you can see he's got Busek comfortably up that inside line, just keeps it between the mayo and the mustard. And the camera jumped there for no reason at all, just as I pushed the replay after that. But yeah, Boyle just running deep into turn number 2 on those cold tyres, and effectively inviting Romano straight onto the podium. He won't say no to such an invitation. But yeah, full credit to Romano and Busek as well. I've often said Romano, he's a bit on point when it comes to the old race strategies, and that's worked wonders for him in this one. Silver leader Valentino Miri into the pits from the overall race lead, with Timo Guertz following him in as well. Dan Watts and Andrei Porskov have both been in and out of the pits. 6 seconds now separate them. So let's see what happens with the silver lead as Taylor Brady makes his way into the final corner. Valentino Miri only just coming to a stop. I think I've overestimated Brady's position on the track. Oh yeah, just coming through the infield section now. I was going to say, if that was him coming out the last corner, the silver leader is in a whole lot of trouble. But this is him just coming towards Champierrero now. Valentino Miri still stationary. Timo Guertz is in there as well. Brady, he's got to get through Oh, Champion tell you, that corner still absolutely scares the living daylights out of me. And Valentino Miri is moving. Wow, that is a quick turnaround for Valentino Miri. So he is comfortably still in the lead. What is going to happen with Brady and Guertz? Wow, Guertz out miles ahead. That's a solid drive there, Simon, for Timo Guertz. He was just out, and he came in, sorry, he was nose to tail with Brady when Brady came in to the pit, so the undercut really not working out for the Porsche driver, and Timo Guertz has now got himself a comfortable gap back to the Porsche, and a very solid crack at a second place here.
Yeah, well, I think what we've seen here is when the McLaren's got clean air, not trying to battle for position, it's just got the outright pace. You know, they don't need to compromise at any point on track, and that's why we're now seeing the 3 McLarens in second, third and fourth, with Brady some 3 seconds off that pack. So yeah, McLaren are just far superior. The Porsche coming in early freed up the McLaren to put in those laps and get the advantage, as we're riding on board with Christensen now, who's not had a bad day, has he? Running in 4th place. I mean, the only thing separating him from 3rd place in the silver class are those 4 GT2s. But I don't see him getting away past all of them this race.
Yeah, no, although given the way they're battling, all things are possible. It's an SOP race, Simon. Never say never until the final 10 minutes are actually final. By the minute it is
true.
Very true. It's a solid battle up at the front of the GT3 pack. Verstappen, Busek and Romano. Where's Joe Boyle? Oh, he's in 4th. Yep, sorry, so he's still in 4th. Sorry, I couldn't see his name for looking there. And he's got a bit of a gap back, so he really is going to need to put in a very, very, very quick second stint. Himself and Romano have both set exactly the same fastest lap. And the fastest lap set by Butek and the fastest lap set by Verstappen are 0.02 of a second apart.
Yeah, nothing. Honestly, nothing to separate them, is there? We're going to have a fantastic battle, because if we look at Verstappen, he hasn't quite had the same pace that we usually see from him, right? He was stuck behind Boyle. You know, whether he was conserving some of that pace, I don't know. But yeah, Verstappen, who's now got the lead, has got Busek and Romano in close proximity, and I don't think the race is over. 15 minutes. I think we're going to have a gigantic battle for the GT2 lead, and it's been either one of these two that have won every race, John. So yeah, Busek or Verstappen, and we could even see a surprise winner with Romano or even Boyle. You know, if they get embroiled in a battle there, they're going to slow each other down. It's going to bring Boyle back into the mix. We could have a fantastic 4-way battle for the lead in the GT2 class come the final couple of minutes.
Yeah, well, as well. What we've also seen is Nelson Pinto in and out of the pits, and he's behind Sidlowski, which means he's behind Christensen as well. So Christensen definitely having a good race and using his strategy well as well, getting a big gap back to Pinto, so he's going to bring home 4th position. Not too bad in the silvers at all, given that the top 3 are in the top 5 of the race overall. The silvers certainly showing pace. Bragstad looking to make up position still after his missed breaks at the start of the race. He's made back 7 overall, so a good comeback. Won't see any improvement on points, but certainly he's going to have plenty of overtakes for the highlight reel, that is for sure. All the way down the field and all the way back up again. It's Nelson Pinto ahead of him, and looking at the pace of the two of them, Bragstad
very
is
much
quicker.
what could have been situation for Bragstad. Oh, drive through for track limits. Here we go, John. They're starting.
It has begun.
A what-if situation for Bragstad, right? Because he was challenging Verstappen and Boyle whilst they were fighting for the lead, and you know, he was right on the back of the lead in GT3, so could have possibly been challenging for a podium, overall podium in this race, but it was just because of that unfortunate incident on lap 1 self-inflicted, dropped himself to the rear of the field as Pinto goes off.
Yeah, I think he was just moving himself out of the way there, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the big brain car did get the overtake done there. Not a blue flag by any means, but certainly Brackstad in the he's in the pros, and Pinto is in the silvers. That sentence would not come out there. So yeah, Pinto recognising a much quicker driver. No point in trying to fend him off. You can see already Brackstad absolutely flying off into the distance. So yeah, definitely a good shout, Simon. That he could have been on. Certainly could have been a podium contender if it wasn't for an unfortunate lap 1. But great recovery driving. 2 very tricky tracks still to come. Circuit of the track limits, Circuit of the Americas, as it is affectionately known. Oh, and Sadlowski about to fall foul of Brackstad. 2 overtakes on the final lap. Simon, I think he's been listening to your praise just to back up what you've been saying. Brackstad popping in a couple of overtakes on the same lap here. Sadlowski does seem to be struggling for pace in the second stint, and it does seem like it seems like that's been a bit of a theme, Simon, for the season. He just doesn't seem to have the pace out of the pits as he does when he comes in. I don't know if I'm just imagining that, but it seems to be, well, the way his race has gone out, and Brackstad absolutely putting him to the sword here, and looks like the Porsche could be getting overtake another position overall very shortly.
Yeah, well, we know Sadlowski's from the RTO racing team, and he usually drives a BMW GT3, so quite a different machine he's in there trying his hands at the GT2 Mercedes, right? Maybe he just hasn't been able to get on top of it like he has with the BMW GT3 car. So just, yeah, struggling a little bit of a pace, trying to get on top of that car. I mean, not a bad performance, still in 5th place in the GT2s there. Still got 6 GT2s behind him, so right there in the middle of the field, which is still a pretty decent performance.
It is indeed. Sorry, I was totally distracted there looking at the overall leaderboard. Just having a look there, 6.5 seconds, sorry, between Watts and Korshakov up at the front. And just, yeah, speaking of RTO, Dan, no camera time Watts up at the front. It's been a solid season so far. He's definitely had his fair shake of the luck as well, but you need the luck and the talent if you're going to win championships, and Watts is definitely looking to do so. He's got the fastest lap of the race as well, which bizarrely on my telemetry is registered as being slower than Porshakov's. But yeah, 1 minute 30.357 for Watts, 10 minutes left to go, 6 seconds of a gap to Andrei Porshakov in second. Then third place overall, it's Valentino Neri. Got himself a comfortable gap out of the pits. So too did Timo Guertz in second in the silvers, and then of course Brady in third. And then it's the battle of the GT2s. This one is not set to quiet down anytime soon. It's KTM, Mercedes, Audi, Maserati, all of them in the shot as well. And with 10 minutes left to go in an SOP race, yeah, I would say it's safe to bet that positions will be changing between these four sometime in the next 9 minutes. So we'll see if that happens, and when. Sadlowski looks like he's about to lose another position. Oh, and just as I say that, Nelson Pinto almost loses the back of the BMW. Does manage to keep it in check. Oh, he is definitely much quicker there. You can see how much better the GT3s are through the corners as the BMW looks to sail around the outside. Will he get it done before Champiero? He definitely doesn't want to be too far on the inside through there. It's going to slow them both down. Oh, goes for the cutback on the exit. You can hear that BMW engine absolutely roaring along. Sorry, Simon.
I thought Pinto was going to go round the outside of round the outside.
There would be something very poetic about that overtake if you had, although Sadlowski looks like he's going to make sure he goes around the outside. He is showing him the outside line at the final corner. You can see that extra bit of steering input there with the front wheels of the Merc, just ever so slightly correcting the trajectory that Szydlowski had put them on, but he has managed to keep them, and that's a good exit. We know the Mercedes is good in a straight line, but it's nowhere near good enough through the corners to fend off this BMW. You would think in the closing stages, Pinto looking for an overall place improvement. He's not going to do anything too crazy, of course. Neither of these drivers are, to be fair. Both will be looking to bring it home. Szydlowski defending for everything he's got here. Oh, and the BMW are really trying the inside line on the curb. Having a look up the inside once again. Is he going to get it done around the outside this time? No, he's not. The Mercedes gets to the braking zone first, but the BMW can brake a lot better. Oh, that almost losing the front of the car there, Pinto, and giving Szydlowski's Merc a bit of a tap. Oh, lights flashing there. Is he trying to distract him? Does he feel a touch unhappy about the defence? Yep, he's flashing the lights. We've got Partez and Toman also looking for an overtake. Let's jump on to the BMW. Here he goes. He's got him up the inside this time. No, he's not. The Mercedes, Simon. Whoops. It's just as soon as he can get any kind of power down at all, the BMW gets outgunned. As soon as we get near the braking zone, the BMW almost climbs into the passenger seat of the Mercedes. It's yeah, this is what motor racing is all about. And it's all down to Pinto to get this overtake done here.
Yeah, this is what the entire championship is about, right, John? GT2 versus GT3s, outright power versus aerodynamics, and it's been a tantalizing series to watch thus far. Really been an amazing battle between the two classes up and down the field at every single venue. This is probably the first real round where we've seen a massive clear difference between GT3s and GT2s, and it seems to be the case that as soon as a GT3 can get past a GT2, they're sort of clear and away. They're just really stuck in this middle section of Valencia where they really just have to slow right up and back right up, because the GT2s just have no speed in the corners. But like you said, as soon as they have any sniff of a straight, they're away and gone once again, which really hinders the GT3's progress. As we're seeing from Pinto, who finally looks like he's got the move done up the inside. He can finally stick it up there, the 869, he can get the job done. Then the question is now, can he keep it through this final section and down the main start line straight? 5 minutes coming up, John. Where are we going to see battles?
Romano v Butek. Oh, is that a mistake by Szydlowski? Not a sentence you say often. But yeah, in the last corner there, was it the most convincing? Martin the Buren has been sneaking up while these two have been battling, and he might sneak himself an overall position as well. Christian Romano, though, if I was going to put money on an overtake in the closing stages, I think it would be here. He's one of these drivers, he really does have, he's got race pace and race IQ. So he's definitely not going to do anything crazy if the opportunity presents. But with 4 minutes left to go, he's got himself on the podium. Can he get himself up to second? Martin de Buren looking to get an overtake done very quickly, actually, on Szydlowski. Oh, is that Pell?
No, it's a Brackstad penalty.
Oh, that is heartbreak. He's had an absolute phenomenal comeback. He's made back 9 positions overall. Still 5 down on where he started, of course, but that is quite the comeback, and that is going to put him back down at least 2 positions. Monteburen, his teammate, back where he started.
Well, he must have made up 9 positions by getting the track, John, because he's got a drive-through penalty.
Yep.
So, yeah, there's no point making up positions if you can't keep it on track. As we just see him go offline once again there, actually. It looks like it's going to be a mighty battle for Verstappen, Bušek and Romano here. Verstappen is backing them up a little bit. Less than a second separates Bušek. Half a second separates Romano, and Boyle is only 1.3 behind as well. I think this is where the battle lies in this race, John, because the GT3s out in front, they're all clear and away and gone. I think those top 5 positions are secure. Going to be a fantastic end to this race. We'll see if Verstappen can hold on to the win. and we'll see who's finishing on the podiums.
Yep. Who is going to bring home the gold, the silver and the bronze? Is it going to be KTM, AMG, Audi, or is the Maserati going to pop itself up onto the podium? Brackstad coming out of the pit, serves his penalty straight away with only a couple of minutes left to go. Partez looking for an overtake further down the field, more GT2 overtaking action. We'll see where Brackstad comes back out when it is now all about Busek and Romano. The final podium position in the final couple of laps. Boyle, Champi Herrero, Simon. I've been meaning to ask you about that, but that corner is an absolute killer, but the drivers insist on throwing the cars over those curves. They're just so unsettling to absolutely every single car that takes part in these races. It's like, to me, it's like a game of Russian roulette. Those curves are absolute killer.
They are. But you can cut them quite a bit, actually, especially the turn one. You can take quite a lot of that curb, but there's a fine line between a lot of this track where you can cut quite a lot, but then there's just that little bit too much where you're going to be picking up those track limits. And whilst these drivers are fighting tooth and nail for these final positions, you can bet your bottom dollar that some of these are going to be abusing track limits if they've got anything in their pocket.
Yep, any spare penalties will be getting used up. With a minute and a half left to go, is Dan Watts and Andrei Porshikov leading the overall way. A phenomenal 45 minutes from the two GT3 drivers. Watts looking for another Grand Slam, pole position, fastest lap and the race win. As we can see, the Audi definitely looking for a podium improvement as these two battle for the final two podium positions. Verstappen and now 1.4 seconds ahead, Boyle 1.3 seconds behind. Can the Audi overturn the Mercedes? And it's very much, it's almost the same as, it's not quite as exaggerated as the GT3s, but certainly the Mercedes in a straight line are absolutely all conquering, even in the GT2 classes. We can see that beautifully highlighted once again, even in the slipstream. The Audi only just hanging on and starting to close the gap as they get to the braking zone. And he's right on.
You know what, John? It almost seems like, oh, Romano going up the inside. No!
And here comes Joe Boyle. And he's going to take at least one podium position here. He will not. Oh, he's almost. Wow, he's had a massive lock up there. And he's given Romano an absolute lifeline there. Boyle could not believe his luck. And he won't be able to believe his bad luck there either. Let's jump on board and see what he saw. VIP front row seats to the best battle in the house. Romano was looking for it. Oh, really opened up that corner there. Looked for.
I was about to say that Romano's Audi almost seems like a GT3 in the corners. It seems to have so much more better aerodynamic ability over the Mercedes, but the Mercedes just seems to outgun the Audi on the straights. And that's where we saw Romano go for the move. Obviously outdid himself, and Joe Boyle's back in the mix now for a podium place.
Yeah, he really is. All happens on the last few laps, as we already know. Dan Watts is halfway through the lap. He's going to be bringing home the checkered flag. Verstappen looking good, and Valentino Miri as well in the silvers. But let's see what happens with Romano. Is Dan Watts, team principal, about to steal himself a podium on the final lap? If he does, he's going to have to get past at least Romano, if not Busek as well. Romano's been knocking on Busek's rear spoiler for quite a few laps now, trying to climb into the rear passenger seat as well. They've all survived, but it has brought Boyle in. Boyle really putting the steering in on the Maserati at the minute. The tyres, all the lively. Oh yeah. Oh, and Dan Watts has just crossed the line. Apologies, Dan. There we go, miles out ahead. And great win by Dan Watts in the GT3s. That championship looking ever more secure for the RTO BMW driver. And it is Porshikov who comes home in second place. Valentino Miri is going to cross the line to get himself a win in the silvers. He'll be followed by Timo Guertz in second. Christopher Streppen is going to win, and he's going for it again. Audi's going for it up the inside. There's been a bit of contact just before they get to Champiarero. It's going to get even more lively as the Audi loses pace, and here comes Joe Boyle. He's going to have the look up the inside. If you two are going to battle, I'm going to get myself involved onto the Champiarero. Here comes Klaus Christensen as well. Is he going to take positions from all of them in the last lap? Let's see what it looks like from his point of view. Into the final corner, all the way around they go, and on the exit, Boyle looking a bit lively, but it is going to be Verstappen who was across the line. Ignati Butek is just about going to fend off the advances of Cristian Romano. There's going to be 3/10, as much as 3/10. I don't believe that across the line, but it is Busek finishing in second, Romano in third, Joe Boyle finishing there in fourth position. We've got another battle just here as well. Sadlowski really losing pace, almost losing out to Zachev there at the end, and James Rollins brings the race to a close with the final wave of the checkered flag. And it is Mr. Dan all-conquering Watts doing Dan Watts things once again. Valentino Miri winning in the silvers, and Christoph Verstappen very much doing Christoph Verstappen things and bringing home the race win in the GT2s. GT2 and GT3 multi-class, Simon, you've got to love it.
You gotta love it, and I do love it. This is why we created this championship in the first place, because so far every round it's created fantastic racing. That man you're on board with there in the pits, Mr. Dan Watts, for all the troubles that he seemed to have had in the different rounds, he's pretty much been untouchable when it comes to the actual race. He hasn't taken pole position at every race, he hasn't led every race, but somehow he comes away with a win. This week he absolutely dominated the GT3 field. He didn't really have that much camera time. He was so far out in front of everybody else. 10 seconds was the lead at the end of the race, as we focused on that amazing GT2 battle.
Yep, and that is exactly how you win. That's a championship drive there. It's an old football adage. The champions win championships by winning when they're playing badly. And Watts, as you say, maybe, definitely got a bit of luck. It wasn't like he was driving badly, just, the car outgunned at certain tracks, still finds his way on to the top spot time and again. Porshikov in second in the pros, and of course Brakstad will still see himself on the podium. I can't move that at the minute. Valentino Miri, Timo Guertz and Taylor Brady on the podium in the silvers. Then it was the awesome foursome, Verstappen, Busek and Romano on the podium in the GT2s. Joe Boyle just outside there in fourth place after taking pole position in the Maserati. So congratulations to all of the drivers for that one. Circuit of the Americas next time. Apologies for jumping through the menus, by the way, it's an HDR thing. But Circuit of the Americas next time, and then Nordschleife.
It will be. I mean, it's not one of my favourite venues to go to, Circuit of the Americas, but we haven't been there in a very long time at SOP, so we thought we'll get it back on a calendar. And it's going to be quite an interesting venue. I think it's going to be pretty much like Valencia, although saying that, Circuit of the Americas does have two very long straights, so we could see the GT2s actually dominate there, especially in qualifying spec. And then it's on to the main attraction at Nordschleife for the finale, which I'm sure every single ACC driver is looking forward to. I'm sure there's going to be thousands of 24 hours of Nordschleife events happening up and down the sim racing communities. We're going there just 9 days after it's released for our finale. 60 minutes at the Nordschleife. Can't wait for that one to come.
Yeah, that is going to be a phenomenal end to the season. We've already had Paul Ricard, of course, the mighty Red Bull Ring. We've had Spa, Bathurst, Monza, and that was Valencia. So that is 6 down, 2 to go. We've got Nelson Pinto in the chat, no practice, and it showed JR's racing. How we doing? All right there, wee laddie. Hey, love it. The Scottish vernacular getting thrown in. Love to see it. Good evening, everyone. Says Nelson. As well, to tell you, for no practice, that's still not bad. That's not an easy course. Not an easy course at all. We are back next week for Circuit of the Americas, but fear not, you need not wait until then for more enthralling multi-class SOP racing action. For Sunday night, we return on Twitch with the Road to Le Mans Season 2. This
no, we
week...
don't. Not this week.
Oh no, sorry, we are off this week. We're back. Yeah, we're off this week, and then we're back for the final at the final round at Le Mans. Another phenomenally historic track, Simon. Yeah, Northslife and Le Mans to finish off 2 race series. It doesn't get much more high profile and nostalgic than those two, really.
Yeah, you're right there, John. Actually, I never really thought about that. 2 major events in the real world of racing: 24 Hours of Le Mans, 24 Hours of Nordschleife. Probably the 2 most prestigious races alongside 24 Hours of Spa, I would say. So yeah, fantastic way to end both championships. Easter Sunday, isn't it? So we're off this Sunday, April the 7th, for the finale of the iRacing Championship. And then, yeah, 2 more weeks of this ACC Championship to go.
Indeed, yes, there's still plenty action to come. Thank you to everyone that's been subscribing to the channel. I know we've not been on YouTube for a while, but I wanted to show off the graphics card that SOP managed to pile into the broadcast setup we've got here at Raven Towers. It does look pretty good. We'll be back for the finale, of course, here on YouTube. Thank you again to everyone that's been subscribing to the YouTube channel and hitting that thumbs up button. Make sure you hit the bell, get notifications, and if you do want to get involved in the racing, whether it be iRacing or ACC, we've got you covered on them both. Jump onto the SOP host page on SimGrid. That will take you to all of the races, and of course we'll give you the link to the Discord page, Discord group as well, where you can get yourself involved. And there is the link in the chat. We'll leave you with the highlights from the race. Quite a few overtakes to sit and enjoy, so please do enjoy. And Simon and I will be back with you next week. But until then, it is a good night from Mr. Simon Baggas.
A good night from me.
And it is a good night from me. Stay safe, take it easy, and have a great rest of your night. Good night.
do, mate. I will do. Thank you.